if you want to find that comfy seat for me, make sure that you've got your sits bones found beneath the body, maybe a little rock side to side so that you can feel that. Shoulders stacking over top of hips, and then lifting through the crown of the head. Let your hands rest on your lap. If you're comfortable closing the eyes, I'll have you close the eyes, or you can just let the vision go a little fuzzy and gaze towards the tip of your nose. And in these first few opening moments, I'd like to invite you to notice what's happening within the body, with your breath, with your physical body, and within the emotional body. Notice how the breath is moving into the body, how it moves out of the body. If the breath is moving shallow or if it's deep. And then notice if you're holding tension within the body. If you're finding that you have the eyebrows furrowed, if you're clenching your jaw, if you're feeling tightness in the upper back or low back. And then if you were to be asked, how are you today? And you were giving a truthful answer, how would you answer that question? How are you feeling? With no judgment, we take the time to notice. Okay, let's take a couple of breaths together. Big breath in through your nose, filling the belly up with breath. And then a big exhale, breath to release. Beautiful. Full breath in through the nose. Complete breath out. One more time. Breathing in through the nose, fill your belly all the way up. And when you think you're completely full, I want you to sip in just a little bit more air. And then that big exhale to release. Now gently seal your lips and allow your breath to be relaxed, to flow freely. And as you were taking the time to notice your body, if you found that you were holding tension somewhere, can you actively try to allow those spaces to soften? I'd like to share with you today a poem called Joy Chose You by Donna Ashworth. Joy does not arrive with a fanfare on a red carpet strewn with the flowers of a perfect life. Joy sneaks in as you pour a cup of coffee, watching the sun hit your favorite tree just right. And you usher joy away because you're not ready for her. Your house is not as it should be for such a distinguished guest. But joy, you see, cares nothing for your messy home, or your bank balance, or your waistline. Joy is supposed to slither through the cracks of your imperfect life. That's how joy works. You cannot truly invite her. You can only be ready when she appears and hug her with meaning, because in this very moment, joy chose you. We tend to think that joy is something we must deserve, something that comes only after we finish the to-do list, we fix all the broken pieces, or become someone better. But as this poem gently reveals, joy is not a reward. Joy is a birthright. It chose you before you even had a name. It saw your spirit before the world gave you expectations. It knows your wholeness even on the days that you feel undone. So when joy surprises you, mid-sentence, mid-step, mid-tears, let it in. Let it in without guilt, without needing to understand why. Because joy is not just a fleeting emotion, it's a healer. It's a return home. Joy does not ask if you are ready. It reminds you that you already are. Let's begin today with some seated cat-cow. We're gonna bring our hands to our knees. And we're still holding onto that really tall posture, shoulders stacking over top of the hips, lifting through the crown of your head. And on our inhale breath, I want you to pull your heart forward, roll your shoulders back, lift your gaze, and lift your tailbone. On your exhale breath, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, hug your belly in, and extend your spine towards the back of the room. Inhale breath, draw the heart forward, coming through to cow pose. Exhale, tuck and round for cat. Inhale breath, pull the heart forward, lift the gaze, lift the tailbone. Exhale, tuck and round, hugging the belly in. Inhale breath, pull the heart forward, lift the gaze. Exhale, tuck and round. Let's go one more round. Inhale forward for cow. Exhale for cat, tuck and round. Now on your inhale, coming back, stack the shoulders over top of the hips, and then let's start with some shoulder rolls. So we're gonna roll the shoulders up towards the ears and then down the back, roll them forward and up and down the back. Up and around, down the back. Up and around and down the back. One more time. And then let's switch directions. Let's go forward. Roll up towards the ears, forward, down, up and around. Almost as if you're trying to wear your shoulders as earrings. Rolling all the way forward. Good. All right, let's take this into bicycles and we'll go backwards again. So one shoulder, then the other shoulder. Good, and then switch directions again. So now we'll come forward. Good. All right, let's bring the hands back to rest at the lap and let's start warm up through the neck. Let's take our gaze over our right shoulder. And I want you to really let your eyes, your gaze, follow where you're turning the head as well. Come through center and take your gaze over your left shoulder. Turning the chin towards the shoulder, the gaze is looking backwards. Come through center, look over your right shoulder. And through center and over the left shoulder. Through center and over the right. And through center and over the left. And now let's come back to the center. And we're holding the chin parallel to the ground. Anytime we come back to neutral space, we just want to think about the chin being parallel to the ground. So we're not looking up and we're not looking down. Almost too as if you're standing against a wall, shoulders against the wall. And then you try to draw the head back just a little bit so that the back of your head would also touch the wall. Now, from this neutral position, let's drop our chin towards our chest. Inhale breath, lift your gaze towards the sky. Exhale breath, tuck your chin towards your chest and pause here a moment and notice that stretch along the very back of your neck into the top of your shoulder blades. Inhale breath and draw the gaze back towards the sky. And now the opposite of that, feel that stretch along the front of your throat into the top of your chest. Chin drops towards your chest. Take time and notice here that stretch along the back of the neck. And then draw the gaze towards the sky one more time. Good. Last time, dropping the chin towards the chest. And then drawing back to neutral. Chin coming back parallel to the ground. All right, let's bring our left hand to our heart. Right hand comes down to rest at the sides of the body. I'm going to scooch forward a little bit here. I'm going to hit the curtain. We're going to take some big arm circles here. And you're going to take this in a way that feels best in your body. So we're just going to start to sweep the arm up and back, really exploring that range of motion here. Now feel free to make this your own. If that big circle doesn't feel good, you could take it a little smaller. But notice if you're feeling any spots that feel a little sticky, a little not so pleasant. And let's remember that that's just feedback in our body. We're just taking that information, we're like, oh, okay, let me store that away. Right there feels a little awkward, a little weird today. And every time we come to our practice, maybe our body feels a little bit different. And when we store this little bit of information away, we can kind of assess from practice to practice how we're doing. Let's switch that direction. Let's go forward now and then back. Taking the time to breathe deeply, noticing what we notice. Good. All right, let's pause with the hand pulled up towards the sky. Spread your fingers wide. Good. Now sweep that hand down, side of the body. Make a fist here at the bottom. Squeeze that really tight so you're tense all the way from the shoulder to the hand. Inhale, breath, and as you reach to the top, we spread those fingers wide. Exhale, breath, bring that hand back down, create a fist again. Inhale, breath, we reach and spread the fingers wide. Exhale, breath, draw down, make a fist. One more time, just like that. Inhale, we reach and stretch, expand the hands. Exhale, bring it back down, create that fist. Good. Give that arm a little shake, a little wiggle. Let's switch that out. Let's bring our right hand to our heart, left hand down to the side of body. All right, let's start with back strokes. We start to open up through the shoulder. Exploring again that range of motion, noticing where we feel any little bit of feedback. Don't forget to breathe here. We take that big inhale and exhale. We inhale and exhale. All right, let's switch that. Let's take it into a front stroke. It's almost swimming season if we ever come out of winter. So chilly. It's hard to believe we just had Memorial Day and it was so chilly. Memorial Day was gorgeous. We'll take that. And I know we need the rain, so I don't want to grumble about the rain by any means, but the temps could come up about 10 degrees. All right, let's take this last rotation. Take that big reach to the sky. Spread your fingers wide. Let's drop that hand down, side of body, create a fist. Inhale, breath, we rise and reach. Spread the fingers wide. Exhale, breath, close it back down, make a fist. Inhale, breath, we stretch and reach. Exhale, breath, bring it down, make a fist. Let's go one more time here. Inhale, breath, we reach. Exhale, breath, bring that hand back down, creating the fist. Good. Give that arm a little shake. And we're going to bring both hands now down to the sides of body. And we're going to draw the arms up and over the head. And I'm going to tell you which hand, but I want you to bring a hand to the front. So we'll start out here, bringing the hands up and over. Bring your right hand towards me. So your right hand will be in the front. On that exhale, we bring the arms back down. This time, left hand comes to the front. Inhale, breath. Exhale, breath, we lower down. Inhale, breath, right hand to the front. Exhale, breath, we come back down. Inhale, breath, left hand. Exhale, breath, down. Inhale, breath, right hand to the front. Exhale, cactus your arms. Ooh, I changed it up. Nice. Now from here, we're just going to bring the hands behind the head. And we can either lace the fingers or just rest them to the back of the head. What I want you to really focus on is working to draw those elbows open, really broadening across the heart space. You should feel a little bit of tension here across the chest as you're pulling those elbows open. Now let's start to warm the spine up side to side. So we'll drop our right elbow towards our right side of ground, and we're working to close the rib cage and the hip. Inhale, come back to center. On the exhale, we take left elbow down, closing the rib cage towards the hip. Inhale, lift center. Think about lifting tall through the crown of your head and not crunching your chin towards your chest. Right elbow towards the ground and up. Good. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, left side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to the right. Let's go once more. Inhale, center. Exhale, left side. Inhale, back to center. All right, let's relax the arms a moment. Maybe a couple shoulder rolls in whichever direction or in whichever way feels best in your body. Okay, we're gonna come back to that same position again. So we're gonna bring our hands back behind our head again, open up those elbows, and we're gonna do some little oblique crunches. So what we're gonna do, they do not have to connect, but we're gonna work towards opposite knee to opposite elbow. So we're gonna come across the body and a little crunch. Perfect. All right, let's go. Right elbow towards that left knee, and we come back down. Left elbow towards the right knee, and we come back. All right, let's keep going. We crunch and we open. We crunch and open. Crunch it in and open. Crunch and open. And when you open, I want you to sit tall and draw those elbows open and crunch and down and crunch and down and crunch and down. Let's do 2 more. Down. Woo. Last one. Perfect. Ooh, relax. My shoulders are warm. How about you guys? Yeah? All right. Let's do some wrist rolls. So we're just going to start nice and slow. Rotating the hands. And we're taking that in whichever direction. We're going to go both ways. Really articulating each little nuance here. Noticing each little bone. I sound like I'm making some popcorn up here. Got some cracking and some popping. Let's switch directions. So I have to talk about this while we're rolling through there, because you know we're at the library. If you guys have not read The Untethered Soul yet, please add it to your read list. It is so incredibly good. It's a reminder to choose happy, to choose joy. It's a very short little book. I think it was about 6 hours on Audible, on an audiobook. If you prefer audiobooks, or even if you don't prefer audiobooks, you might consider borrowing it through Libby. The author reads it. It is so good. I ordered a physical copy of the book for myself because I just want it in my little library so that I can reference that. Let's start going a little quicker. And switch. I'm going to post a picture of it later today because it's supposed to arrive today. Switch again. So I'll post a picture of it on my Facebook page. So if you guys get home later and you're like, what was the name of that book again? After the mail runs later, I'll post it for y'all. And switch. And switch. All right, let's take some flicky flickies. We weren't getting away from it that easy. Flick, flick, flick. Just like you went to the public restroom, the hand dryer is broken, there's no paper towels, and you don't want to walk out with wet handprints on your booty. Because that's what I do. We flick, 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 flick. The forearms are probably getting a little warm and spicy. And I know this is one of those ones that we do just about every time we're together, but this is really important to help us build those muscles up in our forearms. It's one of those areas that we neglect. You don't see these big buff guys at the gym doing this. They do these other little things, but this works just as effectively. Okay, just another minute. Take a breath in and a breath out. This is a reminder that you can do hard things. Breath in. And breath out. One more with joy. Take a breath in. A breath out. Let your hands rest on your lap. Woo. Feel that blood moving through the fingers, through the forearms. A reminder that today is a gift and that it is a privilege to be here today and be moving our bodies. Let's find our seated mountain pose. Now, it may be more comfortable in your body through this little section to scooch a little further up into your chair so you have a little bit more space to work with. We're going to make sure the knees and the toes are pointed straight ahead. Shoulders are stacked over the hips. We're lifting tall through the crown of our head. Hands resting sides of the body with the palms turned just slightly forward. Inhale, breath, reach the arms high overhead. Exhale, breath, draw your hands to heart center. Inhale, breath will lift. Exhale, breath forward, fold. Bring your forearms to your knees and just lean forward, hinge at the hips. Inhale, breath, right knee lifts any available amounts. On that exhale breath, we'll bring that knee back down. Inhale, breath, left side lifts any available amount. Exhale, set that down. Inhale, cobra, pulling the heart forward, lifting the gaze, lifting the tailbone. This feels a lot like cow because it is. Exhale, breath, back to mountain, hands, sides of body. Inhale, breath, extended mountain, big reach. Exhale, breath, hands to heart center. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, forward fold. We'll go once more here. Forearms to the knees. Inhale, breath, right knee lifts any available amount. Exhale, breath, down. Inhale, left side lifts any available amount. Exhale, down. Hands to knees, cobra. Inhale, pull the heart forward, lift the gaze, lift the tailbone. Exhale, back to mountain. Inhale, extended mountain, we reach. Exhale, Samastiti, hands draw, heart center. Inhale, breath, extended mountain. This time on that exhale, forward fold. We can go forearms to knees. And if you're a glaucoma patient, this is probably the best place to stay. Or we can take a bigger, fuller reach towards the toes and a release through the neck and shoulders. Inhale, breath, right knee lifts any available amount. Exhale, breath down. Inhale, breath, left side we lift. Exhale, down. Cobra, pull your heart forward, lift your gaze, lift your tailbone. Exhale, mountain. Inhale, breath, we reach. Exhale, hands to heart. Building on this time, inhale, we rise. Remember, you can stay right where you're at. Exhale, we fold, forearms to knees or a big reach to toes. Inhale, right knee lifts any amount, or we take that big extension, arms overhead, foot extends. Exhale, down. You're staying with what feels best in your body. Left side. Exhale, down, hands to knees. Pull the heart forward, lift the gaze, lift the tailbone. Exhale, mountain. Inhale, breath, we reach. Exhale, breath, hands to heart. Let's go again. Inhale, we rise. Exhale to fold. Inhale, right side, knee or big extension. Exhale, down. Inhale, left side, yogi's choice, knee or extend. Exhale, down, hands to knees, pull the heart forward, cobra. Exhale, mountain. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, hands to heart. So let's go one more time, yogis. Inhale, we rise. Exhale to fold. Inhale, right side lifts. Exhale, down. Inhale, left side. Exhale, down. Hands to knees, cobra. Inhale, lifting the heart and the tailbone. Exhale, back to mountain. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's pause here. Let's stack the hands over the heart space. Closing the eyes, softening the gaze, feeling the beat of your heart. Noticing the rate of your breath. Feeling the joy that you have just accepted into your body. It found you. Now let it live there. Let's take a full breath in through the nose. Fill your belly. Big exhale. If you've closed the eyes, we'll flutter the eyes open. Let the hands come to rest at the lap. We're going to move through a little chair sequence, chair pose sequence. Obviously, we're in our chairs. So we're going to work on a little chair pose sequence today. And we're going to do that both seated and standing today. So we're going to work on that today. So if you can think back, or, to last week, not 30 years ago, when you had an action figure. If you had that action figure, Barbie doll, G.I. Joe, G.I. Jane, it had like 5 points of movement on it. Its head would turn, its arms would move, it would move at its waist, and that was it, right? Its spine was tall, it didn't flex, it didn't bend. So when we're thinking about chair pose, I want you to think about if you had that action figure, or if you were the action figure. We want to hinge at the hips. So we want the feet and the knees to be straight ahead, and the shoulders are stacked over top of the hips. So in your mind's eye, see yourself, you are that Barbie doll. And we want Barbie to look forward and at the ground. She would move in this way, right? Perfect, good job. So then when we come back to sit nice and tall, the shoulders stack back over top of the hips. Now we are giving a little bit of liberty here because our action figure has bendy knees also. So that's where we want to go with chair pose. We just want it to be a lean forward, and our head is an extension of our spine, and we come back nice and tall. Now, we can make this a little bit more difficult, and I'm going to give you this as an option, but you're welcome to keep your hands at heart center. So we're going to take the hands, and as we lean forward, you can either, this first time we'll leave the hands at heart. We're just going to take that hinge forward. Now your gaze is about 3 feet ahead of you, maybe 2.5, 3 feet. And then if this feels like, okay, Hope, this feels really easy, you can take an extension of the arms and let them lengthen all the way out, but I want you to keep it in the same plane as the trunk of your body. Now let's come back and sit tall again, shoulders over top of the hips. Hands pull back to heart. Good. All right, let's start by taking hands sides of body, mountain pose. Inhale, breath, stretch the arms high. Exhale, breath, take that lean forward. Now if this is too much, right away, bring your hands to heart for me. Now, inhale, breath, draw your hands to heart. Exhale, breath, send that lever back out long. Inhale, breath, come back to mountain. Good. Inhale, breath, lean and reach. Exhale, breath, draw your hands to heart. Inhale, breath, extend the arms. Exhale, breath, back to mountain. Inhale, breath, lean and reach. Exhale, breath, hands come to heart. Inhale, breath, lengthen the arms. Exhale, breath, back to mountain. Now be mindful, and just watch for a second, that when you go here, you're not here, okay? I want you to keep a nice length in the spine and not worry so much about this, because that's really not where we want to land. We want to really give a little bit of opportunity to strengthen through the core, because this is all of that. If you ever see any little yoga kind of comics about yoga teachers, we tend to have you come to chair pose, and we leave you there forever because it's really hard, especially without the chair, because we're here. So if you think about it, like, whoo, that really fires up the quads, and we're going to do that in just a few minutes. Let's do that one more time. Knees and toes straight ahead, just so we can put that in our muscle memory. Inhale, breath, lean and reach. Exhale, hands draw to heart. Inhale, extend. Exhale, back to mountain. Well done, you guys, well done. All right, let's lift the toes, lift the toes. I'm gonna grab a little sip of water. Ooh, usually it's like a little fountain when I do that. It is leaky today though. All right, let's go heels. Warming up the heels and the calf muscles. I'm sweating, y'all. Is it warm out there? Maybe it's these lights. I'm like, oh, did I? Yeah. Like, it's sweaty. All right, rock our feet. Heel down on one foot, toes down on the other, and then we rock and rock. Yes, you got it. We rock and rock and rock. And if you have to look at your feet because you're like, what the heck? Feel free to look at your feet. Because sometimes it takes the brain a second to catch it. Yes. Yes, ma'am. It doesn't feel natural at all, does it? No. So we're just rocking the feet here. I love little exercises like this that make our brain do that. What the? Because we're building new neural pathways and we have to really think about what we're doing, and that's great for our brains, putting more little brain cells to work. All right, let's go into marches. And we march, and we march, and we march. Now, when we march, we're sitting tall, as if you were on parade, and you were marching down the road, and whoever's in charge of whatever group you're in is telling you to get in formation, nice and tall. I always like to think about my band days here because we have these big plumes on top of our hats, and our band director did not want to see them moving in any way, shape, or form unless the wind was blowing through them. He was very strict. Okay, now, with our marches, we're going to pause. See if I can get this today. We're going to go opposite arm and opposite leg. So just like we did this in our sun salutation, we're going to go just one arm and one leg. So opposite arm, opposite leg. And I want you to flex your toes towards your knee and try to hold that leg nice and strong at the ground, and you're still lifting super tall. Nice. Come back down. Let's go other side. Just like you're a toy soldier and you're marching. Good. And give a little pause. Give a little pause. Good. And we switch. And we're tall through the crown of our head as if you were a puppet on a string. And we switch. Let's go once more each side. Very good. Nice job. All right, let's go now do some knee circles. Now you can hold your leg. You can hold it with one hand. But what we're going to do, we're going to start to make some circles. And we're going to go clockwise with our right leg to begin. And you're going to take this, maybe they're little circles, maybe they're big circles. We're just firing up, warming up the muscles, wakening the joints, asking our body, switch that to counterclockwise. We're asking the body for a little synovial fluid change, just like we'd roll our car up to the garage and say, hey, it's time for an oil change. That's what we're offering the body here. We're telling the brain, hey, we're using this joint. We need some fresh synovial fluid. Can we get a change out here? So when we work our joint in this way, that's what we're doing. And good there. All right, let's go left side. Counterclockwise to begin with your left. Always thinking we want that really tall, beautiful posture, holding the body, shoulders stacked over the hips, lengthening through the crown of your head. All right, let's switch, go clockwise. We are going to finish up a little bit early today because there's a homeschool group that's in here at 11, so I want to give them a little bit of time to get tables set up and whatnot today too. All right, let's pause there. Now we're going to do both at the same time. A little boat pose, we're going to just hold it. Okay, you guys. So we're going to come to stand now. So when we come to stand, I always want you to take a couple of marches in place when we go from seated to standing, especially when we have been seated for a long period of time. Now we've only been here about 40 minutes or so, so it's not a really long period of time. But it has been found that when we age, and what a privilege it is that we age, when we go from seated to standing really quickly, and we start to take a step as soon as we stand, our body might not be ready and we might get a little bit dizzy. So this is why I teach this. When we come to stand, we take a couple marches. And then that gives our body just a couple of moments to level out our blood pressure when we go from seated to standing. So you may not have ever experienced this, and you may never experience it, but I just want you to be prepared that if you ever do experience it, you can be ready and say, body, I got you. I know what you need right here. So let's find knees straight ahead, toes straight ahead. We have that really tall posture. We take a big inhale breath, and on the exhale, push through your feet, come to stand, take a couple marches in place. Good stuff. Okay. I'm going to set my chair out of the way just because I feel like I'm working with like really limited space today, and I think it's because of the curtain. So we're going to do a couple of things to work on balance today without actually balancing on one foot right out of the gate. So today what I'd like to have you do also have this cord across the stage, is we're going to take our right foot and step forward. And I want your right foot to be toes pointed towards 12 o'clock or so. And then your left foot, your toes are going to be pointed, if we're looking at the hands on a clock, somewhere around 10 o'clock, maybe even 11 o'clock. And then I want you to softly bend your knees. Okay? All right, then we're going to swim. Okay? So I want you to find a focal point up here on the stage with me, and we're just going to start to swim. And I know this seems silly, but this is one way that we can work on our balance without actually being on one foot. Our shoulders are going to be all kinds of loosey-goosey after the day.
That may not be.
You maybe not tomorrow.
Not
Let's
tomorrow.
backstroke. Switch that stroke out now, my beautiful mermaids, sweeping through the water. Good thing we're mermaids because the water's been cold lately and we'll be okay with it.
Yes.
All right, let's pause. Whew. Okay, let's shift our weight. Step your left foot forward and step your right foot back. So now your left toes are going to be to 12 o'clock and your right toes somewhere between 1 and 2 o'clock. Feel free to grab a chair and bring it closer if you're feeling really off. Good. I don't want you to have that available so you can grab it if you need. Okay, front stroke, friends. So we've got that soft knee again, and we're going to start stroking. So this is something you could do standing next to your bed, next to your couch. If you feel a little wobbly, you could even stand with your hip against a chair and maybe you just go one arm until you start to feel a little bit more secure. And then we could start to really add it in. Okay, let's take that backstroke. I like that vision of a imagery of being a mermaid.
Yes.
What color is your hair if you're a mermaid?
Red?
Red, okay. Blue, I know, I was going with purple. It can be whatever color you want because we're all unique little mermaids. We don't have to be the same. All right, pause. Good. All right, let's step the feet together again. Now, we're going to take the feet wider than hip distance. And again, we want those soft knees. Now, this time, we're going to find different focal points. So we're going to start to kind of windmill the arms, kind of twist from side to side. And I want you to move your gaze around. So you're looking at the ceiling. You're looking out the window, at the smoke alarm, at the baseboard, all over the place. So again, this is another way that we can work on our balance without ever having to come off of one foot. Do y'all realize that walking is balancing? Unless you shuffle. And we're trying to avoid the shuffle, right? All right. Pause here. Let's step those feet back together. Let's step behind our chair. Now let me again, if you are a glaucoma patient, I'm going to ask you that you keep your vision straight ahead rather than looking down at the floor. If your ophthalmologist would be angry with you for anything that we are doing, you're going to avoid it. I don't want to get any phone calls or emails from your ophthalmologist. So vision stays straight ahead. We're going to go kitchen sink stretch today. So we're going to take our hands to the back of our chair and we're going to start to walk the feet back. And we're going to go so far that we create a table with our arms and our head down the flat of our back. And we have a soft bend to our knees. We're letting our head move between our biceps and we're really dropping the heart as low as we can. I should be able to walk past you and put a tray of ice water on your back and it does not spill. Good job. Looking good. Take a big breath in through your nose. And a breath out. Inhale, breath. And exhale. One more breath here. In through the nose and out through the mouth. From here, start to walk your feet back in towards the chair. And now let's move into our calf stretches. So we're gonna take our right foot and we're gonna step it really close to our chair. So again, our toes are towards 12 o'clock. We're gonna take a big step back with your left foot. And we want our front knee to be mostly over our front ankle, and our left leg is nice and strong and long, and our heel is lifted from the ground. Now, let's hold on to the chair. You can either keep both hands on, or we're gonna go with our left hand on the chair and our right hand's gonna move for us. We're gonna take an inhale breath and stretch our right hand towards the sky, straighten both legs. Exhale breath, extend your left heel to the ground, bend that right knee. Inhale breath, we lift and rise. Exhale breath, lower down. Inhale breath, last one, extend. Exhale breath, lower back down. Now we're gonna stay here and we're gonna hold the stretch in that left calf muscle. If you feel like you are leaning all the way forward, I want you to pull that chair back a little bit so you can lift your heart back up and stack your shoulders over your hips again. Nice. Good adjustment, folks. Take a breath here and let that breath go. Inhale breath and exhale breath. Last one here, take a full breath in. And on that breath out, we feel that stretch in the left calf muscle. Good. Come back nice and tall. Step your left foot in. Now, in your feet now, I want your toes are still, right toes are still at 12. Your left foot, we've stepped in. And we have maybe 10 or 12 inches between our heels. And our left toes are going to be pointed towards about 11 o'clock. We are going to pretend we are taking a photo with a bunch of kindergartners. We're going to get shorter. Perfect. So now we're stretching the soleus muscle of our left calf muscle. So we have two muscles in the calf. We have the gastrocnemius, which is the big one, and then we have a smaller muscle called the soleus. So the soleus is a little harder to stretch. So this is how we stretch the soleus. It's just a shorter stance and a little squat. Try to keep both your knees kind of on that same railroad track. Take one more breath for me here. And let that breath go. Good. Inhale, come back to stand. All right, left foot closest to the chair, 12 o'clock. Take a big step back with your right foot. We're going to keep front knee over front ankle for the most part, and then we're high on the toe of that right foot. Okay, right hand's on the chair or both hands. Left hand can move if you feel comfortable letting that happen. Inhale breath, we straighten both legs and reach. Exhale breath, sink it back down. Inhale breath, we rise. Exhale breath down. One more here. Inhale breath, reach. Exhale breath, down. Good. We can bring both hands back to the chair and just think about sending that right calf, right heel towards the ground so we can stretch the calf. Whew. Breath in and breath out. Inhale breath. Exhale breath. One more. Big breath in. Breath out. Straighten both legs. Step your right foot in. Now, left toes 12 o'clock still. Right toes are turned out 1 or 2 o'clock, 10 or 12 inches between your heel. We're going to take one more picture with our kindergartners. We're going to squat down. Good. And hands can go on the chair or on your thighs, wherever you're most comfortable. Nice little breath in and a breath out. I guess last month's Facebook little clip, like when you scrolled past it and it showed that I had been live, this was the pose that I had decided would be the one that everybody should see. I think they call that clickbait. Straighten nice and tall for me. Very good. All right, we're going to do one more. Balance. This time we are going to balance on one foot. If you are not comfortable lifting a foot from the ground, we're going to leave the toe on the ground, okay? So we're going to start by bringing your right foot to the ground. See if I can get in here. Right foot's going to stay grounded, and then I want you to take a step with your left foot a little bit wide, and I have to think now. Yeah. Left hand's going to be on your chair. And then we're gonna step the left foot a little wide. What we're gonna do is balance on that right foot, and we're gonna shift our weight into our right foot. Lift your right hand. Maybe we're just on the toe of your left foot, or maybe you lift your left foot. How are we doing back here? Good? Yeah, good, good, good. Nice, so holding and lifting, good. And we can come back, and we can try one more time. We shift the weight into your right foot. Maybe those left toes stay down, maybe they lift. We're squeezing, we're flexing, booty's nice and snug. Good, and down we go. Okay, let's switch that out. Left hand comes to the chair. Right hand comes to the chair, my apologies. Right hand. Why is right and left so hard, you guys? Okay, left foot is down, right toes are out. Right hand's on the chair. Left hand's gonna move for us. Okay, so we've got that left hand reaching, right toes are down, and we start to shift our weight into that left foot. Maybe our right foot starts to float. And then we can come back to center, and we try again. Maybe we lift and start to float. Good, and down. Now, as we progress with that, if you felt really confident, you could start to work so that maybe you're here and you start to just release your hand from the chair. Just to build confidence, because the chair is still there. It's available for you to grab it, but that's another way we can practice our balance. So we can always do our tree, we can do our staff, but this gives us another way that we can kind of work on it, along with our little swings, our swims, just different ways that we can work our balance. Okay, I said we were going to do a chair sequence. We can forget that for today. I'll save it for August. Okay, let's come back and have a seat. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming out today. So glad that I was able to reschedule and be here and see you one more time before summer break. Okay, so I was saying before we came on, we're not going to be holding any more classes at the library through June or July, but we'll be back here August 6th. Of course, you can always watch on YouTube, or you feel free to join at the Guernsey County Senior Citizen Center, and also through the studio. I always post about the schedules. So let's find our sits bones under the body, maybe that little rock side to side, moving some fleshy bits around so that you can feel those bones connecting to the chair. The knees are straight ahead, the toes are straight ahead, the shoulders come to rest right above the hips, lifting through the crown of the head, and if you're comfortable, we'll close down the eyes or soften the gaze towards the tip of your nose. Let's take a full breath in through the nose and a big, long, extended exhale from the mouth. Full breath in. Complete breath out. One more time. We breathe in, filling the belly all the way up. Maybe sipping in just a little bit more air at the top. And a big exhale to release. Allow your body to settle into stillness. Notice the way that you're held here, through the seat of the chair, the earth beneath the chair holding. Allow your breath to be soft and effortless. Nothing to push and nothing to prove. Now imagine joy, not as something distant, but as something close. Something like sunlight warming your skin, like laughter remembered, like your name spoken with love. Let yourself know that joy is always available to you. Allow it in without guilt without needing to understand why. Because joy heals. Joy is a return home. So today my challenge to you is that when joy finds you, you open your heart, you allow her in, and you hold on with everything you've got. You don't need to be ready. Your house doesn't need to be ready. Just allow her in. Let's bring our hands together at heart center, letting the thumbs come to rest at heart space, bowing our heads. And here we find a moment of gratitude for this practice. To you for making the space in your day, and for this opportunity to come together in community and in collective energy. Let's take a clearing breath together before we close. A full inhale through the nose, and an exhale with ease. May your life be free of struggles. May your heart be open. May your body be filled with joy and ease. May you share your gifts with the world. And may you know your truest self in this lifetime. Together we say, Namaste. Well, thank you guys so much for being here today.